Good Thursday, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Robert Smith with the video forecast discussion for Thursday, the 4th of February, 2016. Quite a substantial amount of rain fell across the interior portions yesterday. We had anywhere from a quarter to nearly an inch and over in spots across the forecast region. So I think the forecast region that we were forecasting the highest amounts of rainfall were for actually occurred. And a cold front is making its way across the region this morning. This cold front will actually begin to stall out as it makes its way out over the coastal waters because we have more low pressure here on the kink of the southern edge of the front, and that will be moving into our forecast region later this afternoon and evening. And as yesterday we talked about, the threat of ongoing precipitation redeveloping across the forecast region and the precipitation type for later this afternoon right through tomorrow morning is still going to be problematic as colder air is being filtered into the system as it's moving up and over the forecast region later this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow morning. And we'll get into that in just a moment. Watches, warnings, and advisories. All the flood watches and flood advisories have been canceled for the forecast region. What we have left are small craft advisories through Friday evening, right on the coastal waters from New Jersey down through Delaware, and also on the South Shore and east ends of Long Island until 6 p.m. on Friday. Floodwaters are receding this morning as well on the rivers. We still have an action stage here at Pine Brook, where it's approaching flood stage during this morning into the rest of the afternoon, and it will stabilize itself. But if you're in this area, you want to be mindful for water rises here. And of course, the only major flooding we have right now is the observed state. It's a moderate flood going on at the Millstone River at Griggstown, and this will continue into this afternoon and evening until the waters begin to subside. On the aviation weather deck today, we have lots of fog left over here on Long Island from JFK all the way out to Montauk Point. Interior sections, MVFR ceilings at or below 3,000 feet this morning, and VFR conditions to the west. A cold front is moving through, and it has passed Reading with a west-northwest wind this morning, and this will progress towards the I-95 corridor to Atlantic City and Millville by later this morning. Low clouds and fog along and ahead of the front have resulted in limited IFR conditions early. They should improve after the frontal passage from west to east towards daybreak, and they're doing that now. Brief showers still possible early this morning with the frontal passage. We've seen this on Doppler. And then VFR conditions from mid-morning into the afternoon. Now, rain will move back towards Atlantic City and Millville by later this afternoon and evening, and then toward the Philadelphia terminals by late tonight. We're currently not expecting the precipitation to reach Allentown and Reading. The rain is expected to mix with and then transition to snow from west to east overnight into early Friday morning. IFR or even restrictions possible once it changes to snow. Northwest wind Millville, especially Atlantic City and Millville, with the IFR conditions early tomorrow morning, and then VFR rest of the day. Saturday and Sunday mainly VFR conditions expected. Monday VFR conditions may lower as the day wears on, possibly as low pressure approaches the region. In addition, possible lower ceilings developing, lower visibilities may also occur in any rain and snow, and that's just so far ahead of our game right now. Outside of Newark, if we can pull this up, we're having one of those mornings here where nothing seems to be working. Always microphone or computer glitches wherever you go. Here at Newark this morning, 55 degrees. That's warm. Dew point 54, humidity 94%. Wind is already out of the west at 7, means the front is passing through. A few clouds at 600, 2,000, and 3,200. VFR conditions going to be improving from MVFR this morning, but that won't last too long either. Right now in Philadelphia, 53, that's warm. Dew point 46, humidity 77. The wind is already northwest at 14. Front has passed through. A few clouds at 1,200, 2,300, 3,500. Light rain and snow redeveloping across the forecast region later this afternoon, transitioning over to snow overnight. Right now we're in VFR. NAM 4 kilometer reflectivity, composite reflectivity going into the future. Here's our front with the rain moving off the coast this morning. And then here's our next wave of low pressure developing around the Carolinas here and then offshore during later this afternoon and tonight, spreading the shield of rain, starting back into the forecast region for late tonight, early tomorrow morning, transitioning over to snow. This is where we have the lowest confidence right now on the snowfall amounts, but the NAM is completely gone bonkers with the snowfall totals across the region, especially around the coast. This is going to be hard to determine as the cold air is building in over a warm ground and warm atmosphere that was in place over the last 24 to 36 hours. So we're going to see some snow late tonight and tomorrow morning on the ground, and probably a little bit more around the coast, or that might be a hard time accumulating on the coast depending on how hard and how fast it comes down briefly as the low deepens and then moves off the coast. And all of this should be out of here, especially over interior sections, and then moving away from the coastline in southeastern New York and Long Island up in Connecticut and southern New England by tomorrow morning. So right now we're basically looking at anywhere from just a trace of snow across the interior sections here, and the NAM model is forecasting as much as 5 inches of snow. It's a high volatility forecast. It could have a couple of inches or a little bit more depending on how deeply and how rapidly the storm forms and how much it overwhelms the warm boundary layer in place. Right now, the status of the snow amounts from the National Weather Service in Philadelphia show about an inch or so around the coast and interior, less than an inch the further inland you go, and virtually none from, let's say, 78, 80 west here from the Turnpike and west of 287 here. Worst case scenario, 2 inches around the coast. Interior sections, southwestern New Jersey up to 3 inches, and then interior northwestern New Jersey about an inch or two across the region. This is the worst case scenario, and right now we have a low confidence in this forecast panning out either. For interior northeastern New Jersey, including New York City, about less than an inch, and then an inch from central Long Island, maybe up to 2 inches on the south shore and east ends of Long Island. Worst case scenario, 2 inches across interior coastal New Jersey and 3 inches over higher spots here in Passaic and Bergen counties and northern Hudson County, up to 2 inches around the city, and maybe spots of 2 to 4 inches across central and eastern Long Island. This would be on the high end. Also 3 inches over interior spots of South Shore and North Shore of Connecticut here. GFS maps into motion. Here comes the next wave of low pressure. GFS is forecasting the transition to snow along the coast, interior New Jersey, coastal New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, interior Connecticut overnight into Friday morning, and then that exits the coast. There could be a couple of inches of snow here as this low develops and moves rapidly to the northeast along the frontal boundary. Then dry weather for the weekend. Clipper comes through pretty dry across the forecast region Saturday night and Sunday morning. And then another storm system moves off the coast away from our forecast region on Sunday night and Monday. Another storm system here developing across the Great Lakes region. And another system developing to our south means that, there could be a lot of problems around here as we head into Tuesday. If this storm forms, we could have more wintry weather. Who gets what and how much, we don't know yet. So this is a very high volatility forecast. We're pretty sure all the cold air is spilling into the eastern United States, making all of these disturbances and how they interact with one another in the polar and subtropical jet stream going to be difficult to pinpoint and pin down a couple of days out. So we're just going to have to take this day by day. And then by the middle of February, right around Valentine's Day, we have a storm system coming out of the plains, isentropic lift. It's going to dive down through probably the Delmarva area because it can't go into the block that's now occurring across the northern New England and southeastern Canada with the polar vortex in place. So it means that we're going to have overrunning precipitation that can turn into a front-end snowstorm across the region just in time for St. Valentine's Day. So, of course, we'll be monitoring everything live in our live blogs during this afternoon and evening on all websites, GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You have a good Thursday. We'll be back in video form tomorrow morning.